I don't know if I really want to see this. I have not logged in my account in a hot minute. I am scared. Oh no! I am doing something that I just have to admit it. It's been a minute since I have logged in. I've not logged in into my M1 Finance account in a few months, maybe longer. I don't even know how long it is, but what I want to do today is give you a honest look at how my returns have been.
Okay, let's hear it.
Now here's something that you probably didn't know. I don't just have one M1 Finance account, I actually have two. So you're going to see the real portfolio returns for not one, but two of my M1 Finance accounts. Am I really gonna do this? Because I think I'm a little embarrassed. No, we are going to do this. If you're ready to jump in to find out how my M1 Finance accounts have done, let's go ahead and dive in. Let's go. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the channel, Wealth Hacker Labs. I'm your grateful host, Jeff Rose, and we are talking once again about M1 Finance. Now, I've already done several videos talking about M1 Finance, talking about how to set up your M1 Finance account. I have a link to those videos in the description if you want to check those out. I don't want to spend too much time talking about what is M1 Finance or who is M1 Finance. What I want to talk about today is how my M1 Finance accounts are doing. And once again, my hope is not to show you like how good my returns are, because I promise you they're probably really not that good.
What?
But really to show you how easy it is to start investing for yourself, how to open up an online investment account, set up a portfolio, and start building wealth. Now, M1 Finance is one of many different options that you have. You also have Betterment, you have Robinhood, you have Stash, you have Acorns, you have E-Trade, TD Ameritrade. I mean, the list goes on and on. What I like about M1 Finance is their investment pies. Essentially, you can buy fractional shares and build your own portfolio, and it makes it super easy. And if you don't trust yourself to build your own portfolio, they also have their expert pies that you can pre-select that are already done for you. As I mentioned, I have two M1 Finance accounts, and the reason being is that the first account, I set this up for my Grow Your Dough challenge. And the whole point of this challenge was to open up different investment accounts and all these different online investment options. M1 Finance was one, Betterment was another, TD Ameritrade, Fundrise. When Lending Club was still a thing, that was also another option. With each of these accounts, I put $1,000 in, and the idea was to put the $1,000 in and just set it and forget it.
Forget about it.
The second account I have with M1 Finance is a 401k trust account. And that's one of the other reasons why I really like M1 Finance, in that they offer not only an individual or joint accounts that you could find at pretty much any other investment house, investment firm, but also they offer retirement accounts if you want to open up a traditional Roth or SEP IRA. They also offer custodial accounts if you want to set up accounts for your kids. What about trust accounts? They also offer those too. And since my 401k is technically set up as a trust account, or how it's custodied, that's how I was able to open a 401k account with M1 Finance. Even better, right? I couldn't do this with Robinhood, couldn't do this with anybody else that I wanted to. So I was really excited I could do this with M1 Finance. Before I dive in and show you my portfolio returns, I thought it would be helpful to give you some context of how are the markets doing at the time of this recording. So it is April the 5th. Right now, the Dow Jones is at 34,647. The S&P is at 4523. And just because this will make more sense when I show you my portfolio, Bitcoin is also trading at 45,988. All these numbers, just to give you some reference of where the markets are right now as I show you some of my portfolio returns. I've already logged into my first M1 Finance account. I'm starting with the smaller one first. As a reminder, this was for my Grow Your Dough challenge. I put in $1,000 into the account, and then I chose 5 different stocks. I'm counting right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different stocks. And why I'm slightly embarrassed about this is because I used an email address that I don't use as often now, or at least I don't check as often. So I actually forgot that I had this account. Like, that's where I'm at in life, y'all. Like, had no idea, had forgot about it. I knew about the big one, did not know, or I knew, just kind of forgot when I was going through all my different accounts. So anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at how this account is doing. And boop, boop, boop. As you can see, it's actually doing pretty good. So first things first, I'm going to enlarge it so you can see it really big. I opened this account around October 25th, 2018. That's it said a starting value of 0. And then shortly thereafter, I had to have made the first deposit. And what I decided with this portfolio, and this is like all just trying to based on memory, but based on what I see that I'm holding, looks like I went with the FANG approach. So that is Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and Google. Now, technically, Google is now Alphabet, so I guess it would be the FAN approach.
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
And if I recall correctly, I believe that I read a book talking about Jeff Bezos and Amazon back in the day, if I recall. But I remember I read that book and it got me really intrigued about the FANG stock. So that's why I chose these. And with all of these, right? Apple, Google, Amazon, Facebook, and Netflix. I mean, I am a customer of each of these. So it made a lot of sense. Now, we all know 2018, the market has been pretty dang good over that time. I mean, looking at this chart here, looks like maybe there was a brief period back in December. Looks like December of 2018. Oh, here we go. Yeah, December 20th, 2018. Around that week, my portfolio went from 1,000 down to about 820. And then from there, it has continued to increase. The all-time high looks like it hit around just over 3,000 in December 27th. And make this a little bigger so that you can see it. So it looks like, yeah, just over 3,000 back then. And then it got, I won't say reload, but retested low, about 2,300 at the beginning of March. And now it's back up to about 2,600. So if I look at these stocks right now, like I'm okay. Like I feel pretty good about this. I wish I would have bought Tesla. Like that would be a lot more fun.
Yeah, you wish.
But overall, put $1,000 in. The current value is $26.01. I've got a $1,422 gain for a return percentage of 122% return. I mean, not too shabby for almost 4 years. Obviously, it's been a really, really good 4 years, but anytime you can make that type of return in the market, I mean, if you're complaining about making 122%, then you got no business investing. So this is my first M1 Finance account. Let's go ahead and take a look at the bigger one right now. As I was just taking a peek at my second M1 Finance account, once again, this is the larger one of the two. A few things come to mind. One, sometimes it's not about time in the market, it's also market timing. As you saw with the previous portfolio, I got in 2018, the later part of 2018. With this portfolio, you're getting ready to see, I didn't invest until March of 2020. So that is a big one for sure. The second thing I'm reminded of is that when you are investing a larger chunk of money, when you think that you're really risky, that you want to take a lot more risk, you tend to get a little bit more conservative. So with this portfolio, initially, I started with $100,000. Now it shows net cash flow of $200,000, which I'll explain here in one sec. But there was an initial $100,000 deposit, and then from there I end up adding an additional $100,000. This happened, I believe it was December of last year, and I'll show you what I did. So overall, when you look at the returns, not nearly as sexy, not nearly as exciting. We're only looking, I say only, I mean, I'm still happy, but I only have a $55,000 gain, $55,518 for a 50.27% return. Now it is, once again, this was in March 2nd, 2020, so we've got less time in the market. But also when you look at my holdings, you don't see it as much now, but before I made some adjustments, I was holding, I believe it was like 20 or 30% in a Vanguard short-term bond index fund. Because the idea initially when I opened this account was I wanted to dollar cost average into the stocks that I owned. because back then I wasn't sure how COVID was going to be. I didn't know how the market was going to be. I wanted to get some in, and then from the rest, I wanted to gradually move it in over time. And dollar cost averaging, I mean, it's not a horrible strategy. In times that the market's going down, it could save your butt. In times the market's going up, yes, you miss out on a little bit of return, but at least you've got some in there, and you could decide, do you want to put 30% in, 50%? You know, some people are comfortable putting in half and then dollar cost averaging the rest. And for me, I think I did 70% because this was not all of my total portfolio. This was only a portion. So I was comfortable going 70%. But let's see if you can look at some of the original legacy holdings in this account. I'm going to skip the CryptoPie first because, well, you'll hear why here in a second. So Tesla, that by far has been the big winner.
The power of Tesla.
Currently 40,000, have a gain of 35,000. Like that's fun. Amazon at 25,000, Google at 12,000, Apple, Dropbox, Disney, Facebook, Coinbase. That that one has not fared as well. And then PayPal. Now, with most of these, so the CryptoPie was the one that I didn't have initially, and I'm trying to remember, Coinbase was one that I added later on. So let's talk a little bit about the CryptoPie. And I don't know why, I was messing around with M1 Finance's capabilities of creating pies within your pie. So in theory, if I could actually buy Bitcoin direct, or if there were some cryptocurrency stocks, I could put those in my pie. So for example, I could have put Coinbase in my CryptoPie. So I have allocated 40% of my entire portfolio to this CryptoPie. And when we actually open it up and see what it is, it really isn't much of a pie. There's only one holding inside this pie, and that holding is the ProShares Trust, the Bitcoin, BITO, Bitcoin Trust. So this was really the only way that I saw that I could buy Bitcoin inside of my M1 Finance account, and really to buy Bitcoin inside of my 401k. It's easy, not easy, it's doable inside traditional IRAs or Roth IRAs. You've got to find a custodian who specializes in that, and there are several out there. A good buddy of mine has his Roth IRA heavily invested into Bitcoin. He found a custodian that was willing to do that. But with 401ks, it's a little bit trickier since it's a government ran plan. You got the ERISA, just all the stuff that goes along with it. And I was messaging with my 401k custodian, and they were very quick to tell me that I cannot, as of right now, put Bitcoin in my 401k. I don't know if I firmly believe them, but I decided to just accept it for what it is. So for right now, like this, I saw was the really only way to get a larger position of Bitcoin inside of my 401k, buying the ProShares Trust. And if you look at the trust, so here is the trust, if you want to see it on Google Finance. So right now it's trading at 28.80 right now. It's only been around since mid-October. It came out around 40 bucks, peaked at 43-ish, and boom. And then Bitcoin dropped and it hit a bottom at around $22 a share back in February. It's finally back up to that 28, almost 29. It hit almost 30 at the end of March, just to kind of give you an idea where that has been. Obviously, Bitcoin is, hit a high back in November, 67,000, and then it just continued to drop all that time since then. Finally, it's getting back up to those mid 40 levels. And so yeah, has that really worked out? Well, let me show you some stuff that may or may answer that question. Right now, I'm showing you my activity in my M1 Finance account, and you can see two different deposits on December 17th and then again on the 20th. And then the order fulfilled was not until December 20th. It doesn't even show you, but it does show you what I bought. But before that, first I made some sales. So back on December the 15th, this is when I started making some changes. So I ended up selling my Zoom the Vanguard intermediate term bond fund that I mentioned earlier. I own Square, small position, and also Nike. So I got rid of those and then added Amazon. I don't know if I added Amazon or if I increased my weighting inside of Amazon, and then also the ProShares Trust, the Bitcoin ETF there. So that is that. And then back again on December the 20th. And I think this is what I showed in my previous video, where I end up tweaking my pie, tweaking the percentages. So then a little bit more in Disney, PayPal, Dropbox, Facebook, Amazon, and then also the ProShares Trust. So going back to my portfolio, just so you can see my current weighting, how I have this set up is actual. So my target for the crypto pie is 40%, Tesla is 14%, Amazon is 10%, Google 5% for Apple, 5% for Dropbox, 5% for Coinbase, and then 5% for PayPal. So let's talk a little bit about the crypto pie or the ProShares Trust. So what was going on there? Looking back again at that time frame when I started making changes. So we can go back, we can look at Bitcoin. Here is when Bitcoin hit this high of 67,000. Like, this is when, all right, things are good. This is awesome. But then when things started to drop, like, that's when I'm like, okay, now is this the time to buy? Like, is this the time to get in? So if it was here, like 67,000, now I'm thinking like December, it dropped down into the mid 40s again. So December 17th, it was 46,155. That's when I thought, okay, it could go lower, which it did. It could go lower, but now, like, if I'm going to get in, like, am I confident that Bitcoin is going to trade above 40,000? Like, where I'm at in life, I say yes. So I was totally content with purchasing this ProShares Trust back when Bitcoin was 46,000, which would have meant that, look, what time was that? So December, let's say 17th, right? So the 17th is when I started looking. So Bitcoin is 46,155, whereas the Bitcoin Trust on the 17th was around 29.29. So just under, $29.30 per share is when I guess we'll say I bought in. And you can look at this chart and you can see how it just continued to go down, and now it's finally getting back up. Now, for whatever reason, if you look at my actual return on this account or this position, it does show that I am up a little bit. It says I have a unrealized gain of $2,414.22. Does it give me a percentage? Who really cares? It's not a whole lot, right? At least I'm, 2.18%. So 2.18% is what I am up on this one. So if you look at really like what's the entire portfolio as far as like I don't say lagging, I guess we could say lagging, but if I have averaged 50% return, and of that, my $113,000 position is only 2% of that 50% return. Well, the winner chicken dinner is definitely Tesla. I mean, this thing is the one that has just drove the entire thing. So my cost, $5,128. Like, check that out. $5,123.98 is my cost basis in Tesla stock for a gain of $35,304. And just to show you what Tesla stock is, for those that don't check it on a day-to-day basis, it is a little down compared to where it was. We were at 1,100. Let me actually give you a 1-year look. Yeah, so Tesla hit 1,100. It's at 1,091. It dropped a little bit, but I mean, you look at this chart over the last 5 years. I mean, it is just disgusting in a good way. Disgusting in a good way how well Tesla has been, how Tesla has performed. And with Elon tweeting away, buying a 9% stake in Twitter, among other things, it's like, this guy, he's not going away anytime soon. So should I add some more? I don't know. I feel good right now how much I own. I may end up allocating. I was really still hoping that Tesla stock, that Bitcoin would have a higher return over the long term. Now, for me, when I initially bought into Bitcoin, it definitely has a higher percentage gain than what Tesla stock has done, at least in my M1 Finance account. But in the time that I've been invested in the ProShares Bitcoin Trust, the performance isn't quite there. For now, I'm okay with that. Now, one thing I want to touch upon for those that are interested in buying Bitcoin, and one of the downsides of buying this ProShares Trust, not just with M1 Finance, but just buying the trust in general. Going back to the stock chart or the coin chart of Bitcoin and looking at where it was, here once again back in there in November, 67,000, November the 8th, and then we just see it drop. And then around mid-December is when I'm interested in adding more to my position, but I wanted to do so in my M1 Finance account. So going back to M1 Finance, so right now I do not have the M1 Plus account, which I don't really know why I don't, because I get my first year free. It's really one of those like, I don't know why I didn't sign up. You can sign up for a year for a free. You get smart transfers. You get 2.25% interest on anything that you borrow. You get 1% API checking. You get the owner's rewards credit card, which it can get you up to 10% cash back in credit card rewards when you spend, blah, 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 blah. Well, in addition to that, how M1 Finance works, they're different than your typical investment online broker where you buy stock and you execute on that trade immediately. They have these trading windows. So they have a morning trading window and then an afternoon trading window. So as you can, I don't know if you can tell, it's a little bit blurred out here, but the morning window basically has to be, all your trades have to be entered in before 8:30 a.m. So that means you technically have to enter them in the day before. But if you enter in the trade before 2 p.m., I don't know if this is Central Time or Eastern Time, but they will enter it in as long as you have M1 Plus. Now, I don't. So going back to this activity, when you look at this date here, right, I made a deposit on December the 17th, but yet the order wasn't fulfilled until December the 20th. And the reason being is because the 17th was a Friday. So the deposit didn't get in time for me to make the trade. So the trade didn't actually get executed until the 20th. Is that a big deal? Well, that's typically how the stock market works, right? You're not buying stocks on Saturday. You're not buying stocks on Sunday. But with Bitcoin, I mean, the big difference here is that Bitcoin trades 24/7. So if I wanted to buy Bitcoin through any of my crypto exchanges and I enter that trade in on December the 17th, it is buying on December the 17th. I don't have to wait until 3 days later to buy that trade. So that was one of those like, oh crap. And if it wasn't for, I believe I would have had the M1 Plus, then I could have executed that trade. Or there was another trade that I could have executed sooner, but because I didn't have it, I still haven't claimed it. I had to wait until the next day. And if you're trying to capitalize on some volatility, or if there's a dip, if Bitcoin would have increased a couple percentage points in that time frame, like that wouldn't have been cool. Could have missed out. I know that's more for short-term investing, and this is all about long-term, but either way, it's a good to know about the trading windows and that you can unlock it. I don't know if this applies to me because the size of my account, because of the balance. Either way, if you can unlock it for a year for free, great, do it. And then if you decide you want to keep it after a year, pay, I think it's like $100, $125 a year. If not, cancel it, and you got to take advantage of it for free. All right, y'all, so that's a look at both of my M1 Finance accounts. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any suggestions on any changes that you would make in any of my portfolios. I feel like I need to add some more Tesla stock. I know I was kind of talking myself out of it just a second ago, but now I'm like, Come on, Elon. I mean, I'm digging Elon. I'm digging the vision or whatever his crazy vision is. I mean, he's got a lot of cool stuff going on. So let me know in the comments below any changes that you would suggest. And also, if you want to sign up for M1 Finance, be sure to take advantage of the link in the description. It is an affiliate link, so I get paid a small referral fee if you do use that link. Do appreciate it if you do. All right, y'all. Until next time, this is Jeff Rose reminding you that it's your money, it's your life, and only you can make it awesome. Until then, peace.